So I've been noticing that the last couple of days, Poseidon has been acting super lethargic and he's had scours. And at first, I thought he probably has just gotten a hold of something he shouldn't have, as many goats do because they are notorious taste testers and nibblers. So I noticed yesterday that he was vomiting. I've never witnessed a goat vomit. And the first thing that came to my mind was acidosis, that he's gotten a hold of something super moldy, or because I'm graining the bucks along with the does that are being bred, that because he's bigger than the other goats, he's eating more grain and he might be overeating. And that's not good for a goat. It can kill them. So I'm going to go ahead and give him some milk of magnesia, because what happens with acidosis is it basically like locks up their rumen, and the rumen doesn't contract and do what it's supposed to do. So you have fermenting and decaying food that's stuck in there, and the rumen's not contracting to move it through. So that's why I'm giving milk of magnesia. It's basically a big laxative for him to kind of push everything out of his system. I'm going to be giving him 2 ounces for 4 times a day for 2 days, and it's going to be gross. Like, there's going to be a lot of scours, but this is to push whatever is stuck in his rumen that's got a high acidity amount in it. It's affecting the pH of his rumen essentially. So I'm just doing this to push all that out so that he can start to feel better, because he's going to be dehydrating quickly. I have a lactate ringer that if I have to, if he goes down, I'll give it to him. But other than that, I mean, no more grain for a while. With acidosis, I'm just going to be mainly haying them and giving them as much hay as they want with no grain. So I'm going to go ahead and get my acidosis treatment ready, which is 2 fluid ounces of milk of magnesia, and I'm going to give it to him. And guys, he looks gross. I had to wipe his butt and everything. That's how much I love my goats. I'm willing to wipe poopy butts and fight through goat vomit. You guys can see he's just got all kinds of stuff in his beard. And this is where he's vomited. So now we're just going to give him what hopefully will make him feel a lot better. I know, my dear. I know. I know. Well, I don't know how much of that you guys got to see, because filming with goats is just, I don't really recommend it. He is done with me, but he did get the milk of magnesia in him. So I think that, don't do it, flu. So I think that hey, no. Really? He's mad because I won't let him come in here. You're a goob. I'm trying to help your friend. So I did make sure that he got what he needed. And you can just tell, like, you can usually tell a goat does not feel good. This is the common body language. He is hunched, which tells me his stomach doesn't feel good. And just, not to mention, I've been giving him all kinds of things. Yesterday, I thought it was something toxic, so I gave him a charcoal drench. And now that he's vomiting, like actively vomiting, get. And now that he's been actively vomiting, I just think I've got acidosis, but this is something that we have to keep in mind too. This guy is like 12 years old. I think I'll have to look at his papers and verify, but that's old for a goat. That's very old for a goat. So his ability to fight illnesses or to get tummy aches or things like that, just like as we get older, it happens to them too. They don't get over being sick as easy. They don't bounce back from upset stomachs. They don't get over being dehydrated as quickly as a younger goat would. They're just not as resilient. And I just want this guy to live out the rest of his life here, happy and fat and sassy. I hate when goats start to act like they're going to go in this manner. And honestly, like, he could go, because depending on how often he's been vomiting, I mean, he could be very, very dehydrated. So, like I said, I've got a lactate ringer on hand inside, but I don't know where this guy's going to go. So, I suspect acidosis, but this could also just be he's got something bad in his system. I've just given him an array of things to try to help him. Now, if his scours continue after I'm done administering this milk of magnesia for acidosis, if the scours continue, then I'll have to seek vet intervention, because then I'm getting ready to be outside of my comfort zone. And in that case, that just, you go to the vet. But he's an old guy, and I hate seeing him like this, but I feel like he's probably on his way out with us, and I just want to make him as comfortable as I can. So today all these little babies hatched. I haven't got a complete count yet, but that's pretty much because we still have 5 eggs in there, and then we've got, here little fella, go under with your friends. There you go. Go find someplace warm. Go, oh yes, it's so warm under there. Go under there. So warm under there. Here we go. They just need a little help. But I've got one little fella or girl that definitely needs help. I've never had to deal with this so far, even with as long as I've been keeping chickens, which is since I was like 13 years old. I've never really dealt with a splay-footed chick on my own. So I'm gonna do the old Band-Aid trick and kind of pull his legs together so they can't splay, and that's going to allow his joints, ligaments, and muscles to develop correctly and stop the problem. Because if he's splay-legged, it will end up really putting him at a disadvantage, and will probably put him as a candidate for euthanasia, because he won't be able to grow like that. So I'm really hoping that we can get something done. So here we go. While we can fix it, and we're doing our darndest, sometimes, even though you can fix it, doesn't mean that it will be fixed. So I'll be monitoring that little fella for a little while to see how he's doing, and after that, we'll go from there. You're okay. Showing you where the water's at. Here you go. Go on, get under there. Nice and warm. So hopefully that's going to take care of our problem, but oh no, it just keeps on coming. And now to deal with this issue. Poseidon. What's up, buddy? Are you okay? What's going on here? Do you just need help? Move, guys. Jeez. Here, buddy. Here, buddy. Here. Oh, what's going on here? What's going on here now? You're feeling better yesterday. Okay. I have no idea what is going on right now. So he was fine yesterday. So I'm just palpating his rumen. See if he's bloated, but like he's not taut at all. Sorry. I don't know what's going on. He's just a really old guy. It just might be his time. I don't know. Buddy. I don't know if he just got turned over and couldn't get up or what, but you need to stop because you're getting ready to be real naughty. Don't be naughty. It's really important if you ever catch your goat like this too, that's laying on its side. You need to get it sternal, which means like on its sternum. So with its legs and everything underneath, just like in a tucked, or like if you have llamas or alpacas, a couched position. And the reason for that being when they're on their side, it disrupts their rumen. It kind of collapses their esophagus, everything that allows gases to escape, and gases are emitted from the rumen. So if you don't get them flipped up right, then they can bloat and die. So it's important to catch him. I was just out here, so I know he hasn't been like that for very long, but I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with him. So the bad thing with a lot of goat illnesses is like diarrhea and lethargy are the most common symptoms. But now that I'm looking at his Filmmaker score, was bad. It was very bad. It was pretty light. And finding him knocked over, which means, honestly, probably one of these younger goats knocked him over. Not really meaning to, and he couldn't right himself. But the bad thing about that, if he's left like that for too long, then he can get bloat, and bloat will definitely kill him. So you can see now, like, he's up and he's eating. I think he's just an old guy. And then when it comes to livestock husbandry, when they start losing their quality of life, you have to start thinking about the humane and merciful thing to do. And I don't want to think about that merciful thing to do, because he's a really good guy. Like, he's one of my favorite goats here, because, well, they're all my favorites, but he's just so sweet and he's so easy to handle. He's just a really, really good guy. We got him in hopes of passing on some of his bloodlines, and he came to us shooting blanks, which is not a problem. He's so sweet and easy going. We figured he could be a teaser buck, and he can live out the rest of his days here. And I'm starting to think he's starting to get to that point where we're getting really, really close to his last day on the farm. And I don't mean to get emotional, but this is part of it. I would be afraid the moment that I'm not emotional over loss or over the thought of losing a member of my herd. You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. I'm just going to get over top of you so we don't... So diary entry number 1 million, I don't know. Today we had 2 baby goats born. We have a plethora of chicks. I'm pretty sure 13 or 15 have hatched, and we have 5 more to hatch and that are in the process of hatching. And I had a chick with a splayed leg and a buck, an old sterile buck that just does not want to get well on me. He just keeps taking some nosedives down when it comes to the quality of his life. So I feel like I have some hard decisions coming for him, but for right now I'm just going to enjoy him being here and do my best to make sure he's healthy. I got enough. I know, you're fine. I know, I videotaped the whole... Actually, let's take a temperature really quick, because your mouth feels a little cold. So I just took this little one's temperature because he didn't seem like he wanted to suckle, and his mouth felt a little bit cold to me. And usually when their mouth's a little bit cold, it means that their temperature is a little below. So this weak little buckling that we had yesterday just needs to be warmed up a little bit. So I'm dropping the heat lamp down a little bit. I know, I don't like heat lamps either, but a goat, and especially a young goat, really shouldn't eat, and their digestive systems don't work, and they can't really process the food that they're eating unless they're about 103. 103 is the normal temperature for a goat. He's at about 100.8. So he's a little low, and I know some of you may think that's just a couple degrees, but I mean, a couple degrees in either direction for us means fever. So fevers are never fun. So I'm dropping his heat lamp down. I'll just have Mark keep an eye on him today, and he doesn't seem hungry. He's not screaming. He's not lethargic. He's pretty up and aware, and he just had a bowel movement, so I think he's probably okay. I'm just erring on the side of caution. So I wish I was coming to you guys with a really good update on Poseidon, but Mark called me earlier today while I was at work and said that he had peacefully passed away in the buck house. So that is not how I wanted that to end. I did get my wish out of it. I did get to let him live the rest of his days out on our farm with ladies in the pen with him and not wanting for anything, but I'm a little upset about this one. And you know, we had just gotten done talking about this on our live about how, like, the last couple kidding seasons or the last couple kidding events, when does kid, I end up losing an animal. And I don't know if I just jinxed myself or what, but yeah, I kind of saw this coming for Poseidon, but it's just not one of those things that And I try to lean into this feeling because this is what keeps me honest, and this is what keeps my humanity about me on a homestead or a farm where you're constantly seeing new life and you're constantly seeing death. And sometimes when you're around death enough, it hardens you. It hardens your heart, and it just makes it really hard for you to feel or appreciate things for what they are, or appreciate new life, and to understand that all life comes to an end. It's just, this is not how I wanted him to go, because he did deteriorate over like the last week, and I really wanted him to just kind of drift off into sleep, which I kind of got that in the way that he went. Mark said this morning he was looking out the window and saw that he was swatting flies away with his head, but last night he couldn't get up. And we've basically done everything that we can for him. And even after talking to some other goat mentors, like, it just sounds like at the age of like 12 or 13, he's just at the end of the line, and there's probably not a whole lot you can do that will prolong his life and give him the quality of life that you would want him to have. So he's had lots of kids. I actually didn't even realize it until about a year ago that Tiana and Belle are his granddaughters. So in a way, Poseidon lives on in our herd. He's got granddaughters, he's got great grandbabies here, and in that way I feel comfort. But a homesteading just isn't for the faint of heart. Animal husbandry isn't for the faint of heart, and like, I'm leaning into the emotion right now because I want to feel it for what it is. It's really hard not to feel empty when you have a loss like this. And I think it's a little bit easier for me to deal with, and it's less shocking because I saw it coming. And I did everything that I could to avert the inevitable, but the inevitable rarely is averted. It usually makes its way into that situation one way or another. And at one point in his life, he was going to die. I'm glad he was here where he was loved and taken care of, surrounded by other goats. He didn't die alone. Alright guys, I think that's gonna do it. I'm really sorry that this couldn't be a happy-go-lucky, feel-good type video. But I did kind of want to just bring you along on the animal husbandry side, because it just felt like this week has been crazy. So we kitted out 2 does, we hatched out, I can't remember how many's in there, and we had a case of splay leg, and I have one more that's not doing so well. But those are just parts of life, because if I hadn't intervened, those 2 chicks would already be dead. The one's on the mend, the one just doesn't seem like it's getting better, and you guys can probably hear it, it's just a little bit louder. But that's just the balance of being on a homestead. And a lot of times you're playing doctor to everything else, and you're expending your own energy at the cost of sleep and rest and relaxation to better your land, to better your animals' lives, and ultimately in the long run it betters you inside in your heart. It really does better you. So I think that's going to do it. I appreciate you guys being here. If you liked the video, let me know by dropping me a like, leaving me a comment, or subscribing. But in the meantime guys, I hope you're doing well out there. Stay healthy and be kind to one another. Bye.
This is Onik. Hey Onik. Hello Opal. Hello.